All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to what could be the final map here in the Red Dot Invitational. Team QuestionMark closing things out quite nicely on their map pick back over on Overpass. Now we're going to jump onto EnVyUS's though, and it's going to be here on Cache. My name is Blue. Joining me this evening for this very, very long cast is Metas. So Metas, let's talk a little bit about this second map.
Yeah, so Cache is a map that EnVyUS typically and historically have always been pretty damn strong on. They're pretty much monsters of this map. The last 3 months they've played this map 10 times. They've won 9, only losing to VP. So coming into this one, I think EnVyUS are the firm favourites to take this map. It's not that TQM are bad on Cache by any stretch of the imagination, but that's just how good EnVyUS are. And they have just picked up the 9th round as well. So I feel like we could be destined for a third map today, which of course would be Train. But who knows? Again, the time, there's a lot of different variables in Counter-Strike. You can never like 100% say, oh, this team is going to win because of X, Y, and Z reason. There's always that chance for an upset. So maybe TQM have it in their locker here to take this 2-0.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit hard to predict. I definitely think there are some core problems. We take a look at EnVyUS's performance coming off of the previous map that really need to be fixed coming into this match itself. So we'll see if that's going to be apparent or if they carry over again. I still think that we could see Team QuestionMark closing this map out. Apologies, pretty dominantly in their favor, and they're just taking it as a 2-0. But different map, completely different playstyle on the map here too. Not a lot of similarities when you look at Overpass compared to Cache. So keeping that in mind, could be a completely different EnVyUS here, and we could very easily see it tied up to 1-1 as well. We're starting off though with the pistol round. QuestionMark, they're going to be jumping over here onto the T side. For the moment, not really being very proactive about their push, but they are lining up for a big movement back over here through the B halls to get themselves over towards that site.
Completely agree as well. Overpass and Cache play completely differently. Most maps in CS do, but I feel there are some similarities with Cache and likes of Dust 2, for example. Kind of similar setups in some cases. Either way, though, the first frags are coming down. It's EnVyUS who are getting the upper hand, although Team QuestionMark who answer back with 2 frags of their own, kajunb and karrigan both chipping for frags. Bomb is going to get planted as well on standard spot. So EnVyUS now have to try and retake without a defuse kit. This is going to be tough. Apex going in first. Has he just managed to sneak underneath the radar? He has. karrigan goes down. kajunb slow as well. Now dupreeh comes through. Does deliver the fatal blow onto NBK. He's hungry for more frags as well. They're just desperately trying to hold off this push. It's all on Apex versus dupreeh. He's got 2 frags so far. He's looking for a third as well. He's playing this one perfectly. Using sound against Apex. Just being a real pain in the ass right now. Apex
He's wasted so much time.
And he's not going to get it absolutely perfectly played from the man formerly known as Device. I may just call him that from now on. It's much easier for me to say.
You could use the American excuse and just act like you think dupreeh means device in like Danish or something like that, even though it clearly doesn't.
But now you said that, they're going to call me out. You ruined it, Blue.
I mean,
you ruined it.
It's as valid of an excuse as any to start calling him device again, though. Playing dumb is always the right way to go about things, except in certain situations, so it's not. Anyway, TQM off with a good start here, and that's a great play from dupreeh as well, as he does basically just toy around with Apex there at the end of that round. However, again, Envy, true to the play that they've been playing this throughout the entire day, they're going to force buy directly into it. However, unfortunately, they're caught up by quite a bit here inside of the Vincent on the site itself as they just rush directly into it. Happy, he's able to pick up one. Xyp9x very, very messy on that spray at the end of the round, but they still managed to execute the remaining members of EnVyUS very quickly while only losing 2 of their own players in the mix.
Yep, solid take there from TQM. And EnVyUS, these are the kind of situations we do worry that they may go for another force. They don't. They play it smart, they play it safe, instead it's going to be Deagle P250. Next round, they're not going to have great economy either, though. So TQM may very well keep on some of these SMGs if they do take them through into the next round, which you'd fancy them to do here. It's going to be an A play. 2 players on here from EnVyUS. NBK on the close angle from forklift, looking to get some P250, P2000 headshots, I should say. Not going to happen. The player on truck of Apex gets taken down with ease. And, well, there we go. The blink of an eye. The A site has been taken. dupreeh putting salt in the wounds of Kenny S. Takes him down. And that's also kioShiMa. And there's nothing really that he can do from that position. So, Team QuestionMark, almost a flawless first 3 rounds. But here we go.
Not a lot
Kenny S actually goes for the glass cannon ult. Okay.
Not a lot being done really at all, just in those eco rounds from EnVyUS. Unfortunately, they just get walked over by QuestionMark because they're just waltzing onto the sites again. This is like the same, to a certain degree, this is like some of the same problem we saw back on Overpass too, and this is what I was talking about when I was worried about certain aspects of EnVyUS's play carrying over to map number 2, with it being so late and with things maybe not being as on point as they could be. Deve picks up the first 2 kills here at the beginning of the round. There is a response that comes out from Apex elsewhere, I think closer towards the B site, but still, Zipnex moving in, picking up yet another one. They've actually basically cleared out A already here, and they're going to force a rotation of Kenny to get some presence on, but the remaining 2 defenders here from EnVyUS are going to be split towards either site, and that means TQM should have a relatively easy time getting on no matter where they decide to go now.
Yeah, and these really just have to hope for the best that kioShiMa can play the angle perfectly, or Team QuestionMark make a derpy decision and don't really check the angle. Otherwise, this is going to be a 4th round to Team QuestionMark. And here we go. They're pushing in. Smoke onto CT side, going to isolate Kenny S. He has to go into up and now. Remember, he doesn't have Kevlar, so that HE that Deve has could really rip through. And kioShiMa has at least got 1 frag before falling, but that's probably not enough. Here comes the grenade. It could do a lot of damage to Kenny. Yeah, he gets up to 58, finished off from Deve afterwards. And there we go, 4-0, no weapon saved from EnVyUS. And as I was saying, this is normally a map you expect them to do very well on, but this start could not have gone worse.
And immediately here too, TQM probably looking at a 5th round being picked up as EnVyUS they're actually going to invest quite heavily here in this next round here. Thankfully they can afford it, but still probably not going to be looking at too large of a prospect. They're not doing anything like out of the ordinary as of yet, like anything like super cheeky one, like stacking 4 on the side or trying to go for like a big HE stack. They're, for the most part, still playing this pretty normally. Actually, as I correct myself, they do decide a little bit later on here to put 4 players on the B site. Hope that TQM are just going to push in here once again, as they've been favoring this quite a bit. But you've also got some players on TQM sort of poking their heads in towards the A site. So if they clear that out before this push on B begins, then they could just reverse their path. And immediately these other 4 from EnVyUS aren't really going to be able to do anything. They're probably just going to have to sit back and look to save the armor.
Yeah, going for that stack, as you say, hoping for the best. It didn't pay out. NBK, the lone player off B. How much damage can he inflict by himself? The 1-man army, I've seen him do crazy things before. At least he does get a frag before falling down, so not too bad. And I originally thought that EnVyUS may very well think about playing this one super passive, and as you say, maybe saving onto some of those armors and upgraded pistols, but they're going for this. They're going for broke. They want to try and force into the site, see what they can get done here. And if they can land a frag soon, there's every chance they could force on, but as soon as Kenny S has gone down, that's definitely going to put a huge faultener on this juggernaut. kajunb pulls out the Glock, lands the headshot, Apex gets taken down, and now they finally decide to tap out and save these last remaining weapons with the Kevlar. 5-0 though, to Team QuestionMark already. This has been blitz action from them.
TQM, so they're just spinning around too. They're just having a good old time about this. Got a good lead, and ooh, Happy tries to be sneaky there, but way too late on the draw when he's actually pressured by karrigan. So good response from him. Just Kia left alive. Now I don't actually think he's going to be spotted, so they get 1 save, but compared to like what they had going to potentially save once the chaos began in that round, not going to be very good at all, as it's really the only big thing they are able to save. Thankfully, they are now on the full losing bonus, so they can still afford a full buy regardless of the fact that they just dropped it. And they're going to go for a double setup now too. Kenny S's has armor behind it, whereas Happy's is going to be another glass cannon attempt.
Again, I feel like it's a case of just trying to mix things up a bit. Well, a double up setup on Cash and CT side is definitely worthwhile on trying, but the fact that Happy gets caught from Deve, 2 players do squeaky, and you'll notice as well he's the only player that was actually on A itself. They've got 2 players on the highway that can easily get themselves into close enough proximity. The nade as well is going to do quite a bit of damage in the squeaky door. So the initial charge has been halted for now. But with that opening pick and the fact there's at least 2 players that are known from Team QuestionMark, it wouldn't surprise me if you see that bomb start to transition towards garage or even B site. Although, if karrigan continues to get entries onto A, that could very well change.
So with Happy and Apex both having gone down at this point too, most of the defense is still pressured in towards the A site. In fact, they're very slow at shifting more players towards B as they don't think it's going to be coming in there, which is a big mistake to assume. Kenny, though, the great shot that actually I think ends up saving his teammate's life there, shuts down karrigan. Unfortunately, the play now comes in towards B, and this is the mistake of having a large amount of players still focused on A after you'd lost 2. As that now TQM are just going to waltz into the bomb site. And much like a lot of the rounds back over on Overpass, the members of EnVyUS aren't really left with much of a choice now. It looks like they're actually still going to attempt it, but this is going to be a very hard retake to make, especially when you really don't have anyone positioned on the other side back towards Team Main.
The best chance that EnVyUS have had so far though this round. And they're going to start to mount this comeback. It needs to be right here, right now. The bomb is down, but there's 2 players, but that's 3 that have been picked off. dupreeh and Deve both get kills, so it still doesn't feel right to me saying Deve. I kind of want to slap myself every time I say it.
here's what's gonna happen. Because there was a Dota player that changed his name and everyone hated the new name he chose too. He's more
So he switched it back.
Yeah, he's more than likely gonna like either switch it back or kind of go by both names. The problem is that that Dota player had like 2 drastically different names, whereas this one is like kind of similar to his
Oh,
name.
karrigan. Oh, karrigan.
karrigan picking
Just
up the
got moist.
first kill. And Cajun clotheslining Kenny as he tries to get aggressive in the back B halls as well. And Cajun with another one tap. Shuts down Keo. This is TQM just running over Envy, unfortunately, on this eco.
TQM are just releasing the bracket, man. How do you deal with this from EnVyUS? Frags are landing are just out of this world right now. So happy. Good luck to you, sir. We'll CZ. See what you can get done here. If you can get a frag, I'll be surprised.
Nothing.
But nope. Jeez. Me bigging up EnVyUS, saying that they're a solid cash team and they're just getting absolutely pummeled. This pause is probably tactical. I know we've had a bunch of technical pauses, but this would make sense if it was a tactical. Yes, it is a tactical
tag pause.
Makes sense.
It just need a time.
Stop the bleeding before it gets too bad. Although, to be honest, it could be too late for that. It may already be hemorrhaging right now.
No, I think, like, if they're only, I mean, obviously, with the way that today's gone, they could probably just say that they're having technical issues and use it as a tactical pause, but, if there is a rule on tactical pausing, which I imagine there normally is, this is probably like them, this is probably a fairly good time to use it, at least if they're only limited to 1 per half. Just when you take a look at the current scoreline, this is now the portion where because this is a fairly even map, so if TQM start to pick up more than this, it's getting to that out of control point. But if they can start to bring it back right here, right now, then they still have a fairly even chance of, maybe not necessarily bringing the lead back and bringing it up to 8-7 in their favor, but still putting it up to like 5-10 or 6-9 against their favor. Still would not be the worst situation in the world when you consider how evenly this map plays, and especially more recently with some of the patches coming in, how it started to shift a little bit over towards the T side in some matchups.
My concern, though, for EnVyUS right now is that they're 7-0 behind, and even if they do win this round, Team QuestionMark still have so much funds to play with that they're going to have at least 2 or 3 rifle rounds coming up afterwards. So I can't see how Team EnVyUS consistently win rounds from this point. They've just been so battered so far. They've gone for a double AWP setup again. But this time Happy has Kevlar. It doesn't matter last time, though, because he got picked off from the AWP of Devo as he pushed through Squeaky. So he'd have died regardless if he had full Kevlar or not. So I am a bit worried here for EnVyUS, but hopefully that tactical pause, having Maniac as well, could have helped them out. And let's see if it's going to prove to be fruitful for them.
And for TQM, that very spread out approach that we actually saw back over on maps like Dust 2 and their set versus Titan 2, Cash and Dust 2 have a lot of similarities to them, so it plays out much like that. And we can see them doing that sort of split play once again here to try and investigate all avenues of the map, and essentially looking for any bits of early aggression from the CTs that they can use to abuse and shut down as many players here. But actually, it doesn't look like they're going to investigate Keo just as of yet, which is probably the most risky play right now. Sit behind the box. I think dupreeh knows he's there, though. He's going to jiggle peek him, but actually gets behind the box in time. But this prompts Keo to peek back out. Spots 2 players in the vents, only taking down 1 of them. Kenny is also doing some work on the site itself, too. He's found 1 drop with an op shot. dupreeh finds a response to this one. He's still holding back a lot of these guys, though. Keo is doing some work in here. In the meantime, on the site itself, dupreeh shutting out another one. Zipix, good job. Spots NBK lurking up behind him here. Now it's just Keo. Although he did a great job of holding this part of the map, the rest of it fell away, and his teammates were not able to hold the other angles, and thus, now he's basically forged his own prison, which he now has to try and escape from to save this rifle.
And right into the arms of Zipex. Looking good at the start of that round there for EnVyUS. Got the opening picks, but then from there on in, it just collapsed. Completely collapsed. And so TQM, 8-0 up, EnVyUS on the force bite. It's going to be good enough for some FAMASes, and then M4, but not much else.
Look at how much money TQM have to work with here too. I think Zipix was at max money at the beginning of this round, assuming he just bought grenades and whatnot here. Pretty much everybody is over 10k at this point, so there's no trouble at all for TQM just being able to go as aggressive as they want to. There's a good nade connection that comes out from Apex there. Shuts down dupreeh and does some really good damage to Deve as well. They're going to counter boost now. Great swipe there from Apex. Just shuts down Deve. Trying to put this back into their control. Apex at 1 HP. He's got to be careful, but that's not the case. Zipex pushes out. It finds both Apex and kioShiMa. And now it'll be a 2v1 defense attempt here from EnVyUS, all working against Zipex.
Alright, EnVyUS. You're going to start to come back in this map. If you're going to start to make this dramatic and interesting. Now's the time. 2 for masses. Zipex at least has all this HP intact with Kevlar and nades. Going to be going through connector. Minute left to play with. KennyS has... I thought he's going to continue to jump there. Zipex may have even heard that. You can see from his positioning right now of his crosshair that he is opting on the hope that KennyS will eventually push him. And that's not going to be the case. KennyS has just spotted the head of Zipex bobbing up and down. He's going to be looking for that frag. Meanwhile, Happy is maneuvering his way onto Forklift, but the action's going to be going down on the B site right now. And Zipex is picked off from KennyS. And there we go. Job done. But round loss bonus has just been reset. Keep that momentum. And as I said before, Blue, a number of players were heading towards that max amount of money on Team QuestionMark. So they can buy this round, the next one, probably the round after that as well.
And TQM starting themselves off here very, very well and building upon it. Losing just one round probably isn't going to throw them off all that much, but EnVyUS at the same time do have the potential to make a very strong comeback if TQM suddenly drop the ball. But now actually a sudden shift in TQM strategy. They've barely been going for the A site. In fact, I think this is one of the first times, if not the first time, they have set a full 5-player commitment towards it. Now they're moving in. It starts off great as they get a 2-for-1 trade. karrigan finding yet another player. It's cleared back out. They have some presence back over by Truck, but the op is ready for it. Deve finds KennyS, shuts him down. Keo does get one response to it. But again, much like many rounds of past, Keo unfortunately just out of the fight completely, and he's left with no other option but to fall back and save. As TQM bounce right back, it's going to completely upset the scales in terms of EnVyUS's economy. And we'll have TQM still with a very firm lead and still a very firm economy.
I mean, this really is just worst case scenario for EnVyUS. You finally got around, you reset your round loss bonus, you instantly lose, you got no money, you're not going to save any weapons either. And I don't want to take anything away from TQM because they have played this fantastically, but I just wonder if EnVyUS are on tilt, man. Something doesn't feel right about how they're playing. They just seem very sluggish, very rusty. This isn't the EnVyUS of old on Cash. We expect them to just hammer their opponents.
I think it's more this match is being played at currently 1:30 in the morning Central European time.
Yeah,
and most of these players are probably indisposed, I guess is the most appropriate word to use at this point.
I mean, that's a very fair point, but I guess to play devil's advocate, you could say the same for Team QuestionMark. They're also playing it super late, and yet they're performing very well.
I think, well, that's like a double-edged sword, because you could argue that both ways in saying that, like, TQM just came off of a match they're the most warmed up, whereas EnVyUS, like, were just, like, you know, like, screwing around on Netflix and watching movies, and they weren't really, like, warming up for this match, potentially. However, there is $50,000 on the line, so that'd be a very bold assumption, to say the least.
Just taking them to pieces right now. I mean, it is a pistol round. You're not expecting much from EnVyUS. And again, it's Happy, all by his low. So does get a nice little frag there onto Zipex. He's going to get picked off as soon as he charges for that weapon because Devo was waiting in the shadows with his CZ. TQM already on double digits. And there's still rounds to play with. So this is already pretty brutal to watch, Blue.
Indeed. So for EnVyUS, they get another bye going about themselves with really no choice but to force as early as they possibly could. It's still a fairly semi-decent bye, but Kenny's on that glass cannon op again. And the last time we saw him do this, which I think was on like the 4th-ish round around there, somewhere between like 4 and 6, he tried to do this. It didn't really go very well at all. And look at how aggressive he's being with this one, too. He does have a buddy with him in the event he does end up falling, so they can try and grab a trade, but that's not the optimal scenario right now. They need to try and get ahead early, and putting 2 players completely down to the B-bomb site is not going to be good with TQM rushing out onto this A site with no remorse whatsoever here. There is 2 nice trades that come back out. Happy finding a third, but karrigan picking one up for the guys on TQM. Now the cavalry's here. Apex coming back in, picks up the headshot on a Zipnix. And now it's going to be karrigan as the final one live, lining up that first headshot, but too slow in the second. Keo, finally in the fight, shuts down karrigan and gives EnVyUS a second round pickup.
Yeah, decent hold there from EnVyUS. Hopefully that's going to jolt them back to life, resuscitate them. It's going to give them... Let's have a look at what their utility's looking like. I mean, it's not fantastic, again, because of TQM's consistent savagery on Cash T side. They've got another very healthy buy-up, and you can see there on the equipment value, they are definitely ahead. But in terms of grenades and the fact that they've got an AWP surrounded by AK, that's huge as well. And cajunb goes to town on KennyS and kioShiMa. And the AWP that was in play has been dropped. Just picked up by Apex there. Trades out his M4 for it. Happy's doing work on A, and meanwhile, one frag comes in, and that bomb still has options. A lot of time to play with still here, Blue.
It's so bad that, again, EnVyUS have just been dropped down this many players so early in the round. As you mentioned, it's exactly it. Options. TQM can go wherever the heck they want. Oh, they've eliminated 2 players. Either way, they're going to have either an even trade on the entry, or they're going to have a man advantage, which right now it's going to be the advantage in such a huge way. Just clearing out the defense one by one here. EnVyUS boxed out of the A site completely. And Apex with the op. Definitely not going to be getting aggressive with this. Just going to sit back and save. And that is a word we've been using a lot in this half.
Oh, yes. Almost every round, it feels like. The question now is, can Apex? I mean, I don't think they've been able to save a single weapon. Or maybe just the 1 or 2. And nope. He's not going to save it this round either. So again, economy in shambles. The 2 times when they have managed to win a round, they haven't been able to follow up with another one. And that is going to be a force bite as well for EnVyUS. So, I mean, TQM could feasibly take this off 13-2 on T side. Which I feel, I mean, I'm not a statistician or anything. I'm not particularly good with memory. I don't think EnVyUS have ever lost 13-2 on CT side of Cash. I'm just going to throw it out there. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on Twitter, please. But I don't think this has been seen before.
A 13-2 between EnVyUS and TQM?
No, just EnVyUS and against anybody
Oh.
in Cash. I don't think we've seen them get this hammered on the CT side.
I would have to check CSGopher on that one, which would take a little bit of time. Someone else can check it for us, though. That is a good point. But anyway, EnVy actually off to an okay start here as they press the envelope inside of A main. They pick up 1 kill and they get the pressure going back over there in the shed area of A main, but still not able to find anything else beyond this. And NBK, he's trapped in here now. That doesn't stop him from lining up a headshot, though. And he's actually trying to pick up more. They've done a fantastic job with the very minimal weapons they've had invested here and knocking these guys out. And now they're just having all kinds of fireworks there going through the garage door in hopes of finding the other one. But NBK wildfiring here. Not going to be able to pick anything else up just as of yet. But there's Keo lining up another deagle headshot. Shuts out kajunb. And it's just Xyp9x now with 16 HP.
Alright, EnVyUS time at least picked up a 3rd round. You can get 4 in the pistol, who knows?
I hate relying on like any sort of comeback 3 rounds or less, though. That's the thing. Because obviously, you know, we were talking about already, TQM still have the money. Like, if TQM still win this final round, in my opinion, I still think it's too far gone for EnVyUS to come back. Unless they have, like, a monster start, including the first 2 gun round wins. Along with a pistol and those subsequent wins as well. So they absolutely have to try and get 4. Otherwise, I still think it's too far gone, and it's going to be a 2-0 for TQM. So we'll see on that in a second. As NBK finds Devi. And then directly after that, Xyp9x comes in for the trade on NBK. It's held back a little bit, but Apex, good job from him. Shutting out karrigan. And the rest of the CTs now still a little bit unstable. dupreeh and Xyp9x finding 2 more pickups. And now it's split, a 1-for-1 defense on either side. TQM, as they've had many, many times before. The question is, for TQM, which site do they go to? And there's really going to be no choice of consequence. They can go to either one. There's just going to be a player on either site.
And the way EnVyUS have approached so far, they typically haven't clumped together in these kind of scenarios. So it's very likely, as soon as they see Apex, especially in Highway, it's only going to be the 1 player on B. And, well, Highway has been picked off. So kioShiMa now at the back of the site, and he has consistently been a B player as well. So they're probably going to know this. And that's why the bomb is starting to scurry its way back to the A site. kioShiMa gets the frag, but he's down to 1 HP. So is the 1v2 1 HP dream real from kioShiMa? If not, that could very well be this map slipping away, and dupreeh puts him down from Connector. 12-3 halftime score. Pretty ridiculous.
And we did have somebody from EnVyUS disconnect too, so it'll probably be just a moment while we get ourselves started with the second half. But as I was saying before, realistically, EnVyUS have so much more work to do here in the second half on the T side. We've seen the apparent strength of what the T side can work with, but it needs to be so consistent here. It basically has to be a repeat of exactly what TQM just pulled off here, picking up that first, I would say, like 6 rounds, even to bring it that close to where they really would have a good chance to get back into this map and take us to a map number 3.
I'm being tweeted now. Apparently, EnVyUS got absolutely shreked against VP 15-0 on their CT side of Cash at Dubai. So I stand corrected. Thank you very much for those of you that are tweeted in. That is very surprising to me. So it goes to show that this isn't the first time they've been this dismantled, but I definitely wasn't expecting this, Blue, when we came into this map. I thought, honestly, that EnVyUS would have this in the bag.
Yeah, I thought so as well, but like we said before, something seems a little bit off here. And I do think it is mainly because this match is being played at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah. There's also internet issues as well that the players have consistently had all night. So like, there could be legit reasons as to why they're not playing so well.
Kenny's DC'd. I know one of the other players was having problems earlier too, and he was complaining about it. It wasn't ping issues, but it was like choke issues. So we're just waiting for that player to reconnect, and then we'll get started with it. And in all honesty, again, like as we said before, there's not a whole lot to take a look at and analyze from this half. It's just EnVyUS unfortunately falling flat when it comes to the initial defense, and TQM just walking over EnVyUS for much of that half and just getting themselves on the side, especially for this first bundle of like 5 or 6 rounds. There really was just no defense being put up at all by EnVyUS.
Yeah, it almost seemed like they were just walking in and just getting picks wherever they so choose, especially for the first 6 or 7 rounds. They're just walking into B consistently, having the quick entries on A. Karrigan, in particular, was getting a bunch of entry frags on A. No real issues. We did see some comeback, or at least some attempted comebacks from EnVyUS here and there in the mid portion of that half, but it just wasn't enough. And apparently KennyS is having issues reconnecting to the server.
I like how people thought the choke issues thing was a pun.
Oh, damn, yeah.
It was not intended to be a pun at all, even though it kind of looked like one. There actually is a stat on your net graph called choke, for those who don't use a net graph. And it's the percentage of packets. It's like your packet loss, if I remember correctly. And if it gets like anything above like 5%, it's like completely unbearable. Especially if it's consistently above that. It sucks.
I like how this guy just tweeted me, yes, device in all caps, as if to prove a point that it's not Deva, even though it is. It was getting choke issues, Kappa. So it seems to have picked up on that accidental pun that you made. That makes no sense, because Deva's on the team that's racking 12-3, so yeah.
Clearly. Alright, Kenny's back. So let's get right to it, guys. The second half, possibly a very short one if TQM started off strong. But for EnVyUS, they need to begin this one very, very strong in their own favor. On the T side now, pretty much everybody, they're actually going to go for heavy mid control here too. And they've only got really one player here from the side of TQM to resist it. They can funnel more in from the A site, but I doubt they're going to want to do it. So this is dangerous now, because they've given EnVyUS a lot of control of this map very, very early on. And they're actually going to go through Z and probably take control of the B site off of this one too. But with some success being had by Happy and A main, I think that's going to get canceled now. And they're going to go up highway anyway. But that kill from Happy is kind of nullified now as Karrigan picks up that 1 kill. Rounds back over to Toxic. He's going to find another pickup here too. Has a chance to find a third as players start to push back out, but they haven't actually really found him as of yet. Karrigan flanking these players left and right. He finds one more before he falls down to Kenny. And now they're going to get themselves onto the site, but they've only got 2 players left alive, and they've lost control of the bomb. It's out in the open with no way to retrieve it.
This is EnVyUS' last lifeline, I feel, on this map. If they lose this pistol, they're dead and buried. This is desperate times right now. KennyS lands the headshot onto dupreeh. Hot off the back of reconnecting to the server. And the bomb is going to get planted as well. Deve could go for the peak here. Could very well get this frag, but he's actually been dropped down to 10 HP for the shot from kioShiMa. Crucial frag there for EnVyUS. And now it's on kajunb. What can he get done? kioShiMa's hopping up there, playing a very dangerous game of cat and mouse. KennyS just goes right in, and they are going to pick up this pistol round. And maybe EnVyUS are about to mount something special. TQM probably going to go for the force.
We'll take a look at that. There's honestly no reason like why they would need to go for it though. Like they can go for upgraded pistols and still easily have a full 4th round buy. And I think that's what they're going to choose to do now. Very, very light on a majority of these players. dupreeh invests in the armor 5.7, but for the rest of them, they're just going to go for Deagles. And for Deve specifically, he's not going to buy anything at all.
Deagles has been a consistent theme, I suppose you could say, of today's proceedings. And landing some crazy, worthy stuff. And 4 players over on B side right now for the Danes. The last remaining player, other than those 4, was Dipex, and he's been picked off, so that's going to kind of force the hand of Deve to use that USP and try and get onto the A site, which is where the bulk of EnVyUS are now traveling. And this is looking very good for EnVyUS. They should be able to get on this site, should be able to get that bomb down, and KennyS very nearly gets punished for his overconfidence, jumping on top of the red container, dropped down to 3 HP. Meanwhile, Happy has dropped Karrigan though, so this is looking good for EnVyUS.
With EnVyUS already having full control, Apex wrapping back around, takes down Deve. He's scouting for some guns and pickups there. NBK also picking one up with the SMG too, and the last player left alive, dupreeh, didn't really get a chance to do anything, unfortunately, even though he was probably the most heavily invested player. He's falling back inside of CT spawn, looking to keep himself alive, but a little bit messy. Manages to find the connection on the headshot there to take down Apex at a heavy cost to his own life. He's out at 30 HP. The second kill, much more clean as he takes down NBK, and now he wants to stay alive, so he's going to fall back a little bit more and hope no one else tries to pressure him, which I don't believe they'll be doing.
2 frags, keeping that 5-7 alive. TQM may think about some more upgraded pistols. We've seen this tactic before on training where they go for 4 HEs and they just throw them in the same area. So is this going to be towards boost maybe? Let's see. They're going to travel through mid. That pretty much answers the question. And yes, they will. We're actually going to be delaying this one somewhat. So 2 grenades went into garage. Didn't do any damage whatsoever. And Happy up on the boost is going to do the damage. Here comes the grenade over onto boost right now. Happy doesn't pick himself up the 1 frag and the second as well. No, he doesn't actually. Zipex gets better. Nicely done. dupreeh, meanwhile, holds down on B for a couple of seconds. But the rush is successful. And NBK can make short work of karrigan. So EnVyUS have managed to get the pistol and the subsequent 2 rounds afterwards. But here comes the first true test. As Team QuestionMark will have a full buy.
Yeah, like we were saying before, this is still a very comfortable lead for TQM. They're only halfway to tying it up. Still 4 more additional rounds are needed to just win the match. So like I was saying before, I really think we need to see EnVyUS get up to around 9 rounds before I would call it a safe bet to maybe see EnVyUS coming back into this map now. TQM, if they can shut it down right here, then all the work they've done in these last 2 rounds might just be a moot point. And now we can see TQM, kajunb just doing some work. Super aggressive, pushes up to the mid doors there and shutting down 2 players. Some assistance coming into the third there from Zipex. He does get traded out, but that doesn't matter as, again, they're down to just 2 players alive from EnVyUS and they've lost bomb control.
And in many ways, bomb control is the key part of that sentence, because if you've got 2 players alive but you've got that bomb, things can still happen. But if the bomb's out in a position like that, you just get all angles covered from the CTs and it's almost impossible against the caliber team of TQM. So, Happy is going to get caught. Oh, but doesn't get finished off from Dever. I was expecting him to get that flick shot there. Either way, he still finds himself in a 1 versus 3 with no bomb control. Doesn't have the AWP though.
He's basically got 2 options. One, hope someone gets over aggressive and he can pick up like a kill or 2 off of that one and then try to win the remaining 1 versus 1. Or he just has to go right for the 1 versus 3, which more than likely he will lose. He's got a lot of utility to work with. And I also don't think he's fully aware that all 3 players from TQM are just stacked back over here. But regardless, he's going to take his sweet time with this one in hopes of investigating every other angle. And maybe if he's able to get far enough away, he might actually be able to save the op, which is probably an option he's considering as well, heavily.
Oh, he's actually the peek and gets caught from kajunb. He may have been very worried that if he tried to save the AWP and he gets caught after time, it just body blows. It's like a gut punch for EnVyUS.
So thankfully, because he does go down, we're still able to see the full buy coming out from EnVyUS now. Kenny's going to be back down over here onto a Tech 9, just because of the fact that we did see the op coming in from him, so obviously he's going to be sitting on a lot less extra cash. Because he downgrades to that, however, he does have full utility to go with himself. NBK, basically 0 utility. The rest of his team still a decent amount, so not too worried about EnVyUS being able to find their way into the site just as of yet. But actually shutting down the defense from TQM is now going to become the problem that they've struggled with so heavily so far in both of these maps.
Well, EnVyUS really desperately need something to happen. They need that opening pick. Need to open up a gateway in which they can force through. Mid hasn't been too happy for them so far. That legit wasn't meant to be a pun. Honestly, it wasn't. I said it and I was like, oh my god.
That took me a minute. I don't think anyone would have realized that if he didn't mention anything.
Damn. I kind of screwed myself then. There we go. As I'm saying, they need to get the opening pick. Happy gets flashed, he gets forced, he gets fragged, but NBK does pick up 2 frags over on the B side. And with a lack of presence there from the CTs, as Zipex spins around and picks up Apex, who really should have had that kill. He had a dead to right. Deve comes in as well, and now it's all on NBK. He's picked up 2. He's been a very strong player today for EnVyUS. Is it 1v3? A bridge too far? Yes, it is. karrigan will secure the 14th round for TQM. Apex. I feel if he gets that frag, things could very well have gone the Frenchman's way.
It's falling apart, man. It's very unfortunate to see EnVyUS fall this way, but it looks like it's going to be part of the course here now. They weren't able to maintain once we saw TQM getting the guns in their hands. They're going to be going for another big force up here, but it's going to be the last one that can work for it. Now 2 Tech 9s in the mix. Virtually 0 utility on any of the players that have managed to buy up rifles. And for TQM, they're armed to the teeth with everything they could possibly want and need.
Everything is looking pretty rosy right now for QuestionMark.
Just peachy.
Just peachy, yeah. Open play, AK, M4s, 4 incendiary grenades. You can just stack those wherever they please. There's a smoke in mid from Devers, and stop any presence coming through from main. It's from mid, I should say. It's very unlikely someone will push that smoke, so we can then focus his attention up on boost instead. The 2 players on A, but the CTs have a look at our corner, one of which is Vexed. He has somehow got 2 kills before falling down, so at least keeps it even for his team. It wasn't a clean sweep onto the site. And now, they very well may just want to try and force on back onto this site. Highway is going to get pushed from kajunb. He gets picked off from Happy. I believe that was a boost that took him out. And now, as soon as that kill comes out, I think that pretty much is the red light for the rest of Team QuestionMark. Just save those weapons.
So Happy's stuck up on top here now. And as you were mentioning before, TQM, they don't really have another option to work themselves back into the site as of yet. Nor are they really in the position like they were in the last half to where they can just leisurely attempt to go for these and pull off as much economical damage as they might be able to work towards. They've got to think about saving these guns right now. And that's exactly what they've done. They've now fallen back. Devi not really going to be able to find anything in exit frags, but thankfully for himself, the rest of EnVyUS is going to be fairly passive about chasing the remaining players from QuestionMark as well. So there won't really be any trouble with keeping that rifle and that op alive going into this next round here.
Yeah, if the situation was different and TQM desperately needed rounds to get back in the game, they would have definitely gone for that take. But the fact they have such a buffer of rounds, you know, it takes so much pressure off you in these kind of scenarios. So just go back, save, allows you to get another bite. And still North in play as well, so Dever can just take that onto the site by himself. And we'll be just chilling for now. 2 players pushing aggressively in mid, so he doesn't have any highway help. So if he does get rushed right here, right now, probably will fall down pretty fast. That smoke has bought him time for sure. Lands an A main.
TQM playing aggressively back over on mid. Has limited their defense, especially if EnVyUS just go for a full commitment in towards A. They're going to have to move very, very quickly back up highway to hold things. But karrigan now actually having that counter boost, that's going to drop the bomb, and that's a huge pickup for these guys. But interestingly enough, karrigan's going to fall away from that. He's not going to stay up there to defend the bomb any longer. Apex finds the first entry here on the A bomb site itself. And they are going to move Keo over to pick up the bomb and regroup with the rest of the team. But it's Apex again that's doing all this work here to try to find their way into the bomb site. Unfortunately, he's dropped to the floor by karrigan, who shuts down Kenny S. And now that's going to make it that much harder to actually forge their way into this site once again, as they've lost what so far in this round has been their main entry fragger.
Good Molotov from karrigan, allows him to relocate to the other side of the bomb. Now he can hold the better angle, but he still gets picked up from kioShiMa. That is surprising. Meanwhile, kajunb comes in. Happy's there to answer him. 1 versus 1, 30 seconds. Happy, assuming the last player is over towards either truck or highway side, but unknown to him, dupreeh is lurking from A main. He could very well take down Happy in the back. Happy finally decides, okay, maybe it is main. He looks over there. Grenade comes out. That could do a bit of damage to dupreeh as well. Nearly lands on his head, but just on the wrong side of the wall. 10 seconds now. dupreeh's going to go in. The Molotov lands on Happy, so he's going to have to move right now. And he may very well get killed, and as a result, that Molotov was perfectly placed from dupreeh. And QTM have got themselves a 15-7 lead. QTM, wow. TQM is the one I was looking for.
So EnVyUS forcing up again. It's the same story, just throwing everything they can into this round, which is not going to be all that much. Just 1 rifle now sitting on Keo. TQM. Actually, they're a little bit like this time too, just as a bit of a side note here. As in terms of like smokes and whatnot, they're missing quite a large amount of their arsenal. However, the big difference between EnVyUS in this kind of situation, TQM, is that TQM are not afraid to play aggressive to compensate for this lack of utility. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. dupreeh and kajunb have this crazy dual spray angle. dupreeh does end up getting ripped to shreds, but kajunb picks up another kill to make up for this one. They're going to win the fight towards middle. There's Xyp9x shutting down Happy, and Deve gets the final kill of the tournament, takes down Kenny S, and that's going to close it out 2-0 in the favor of TQM. They're going to win first place here. And the largest split of the $50,000 up for grabs as for EnVyUS. Unfortunately, they will be decimated here. Will not be able to pick up a single map in this set versus their opponents.
Deserved winners in the end. Team QuestionMark were brutal on cash. Great start. Managed to finish it out. It's been a long old day, Blue, but it's been a very enjoyable one, man.
It's been nine very long hours of casting.
Yes, that sounds about right. I'm probably off to go to sleep for about 5 years at this point. I don't know about you. What you got planned for the rest of the day? Much?
Well, what time is it? Because I can't... Oh, it's like 8 p.m. In like 2 hours, I can probably go to bed. So there's that.
Sweet. That's it from us, though, I think.
Yeah.
We don't have any more matches lined up.
So thank you guys very much for sticking with us this evening. If you've enjoyed the cast, you can follow either myself or Metas over on Twitter. Metas is at MetasTV, correct?
Correct, yep. It's in the title as well, I think.
Yep.
If they just want to look there.
It's at METUZ TV. And then for myself, if you'd like to follow me, I'm at BLUCSGO. There's no E in the name. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. And we'll see you at the next event, guys. Have a good one. See you later.